enjoying your Christmas break, and welcome to Thought for the Day on Monday the 28th of December 2020. 4 calling birds and negotiating through life. I have always loved the 12 Days of Christmas Carol, relishing in the challenge of firstly remembering all the items in order, and then secondly getting to the end without tripping over my tongue. I have never really thought very deeply about it, other than a rather naive thought about how lucky she was to get all these gifts, not stopping to consider what she would in fact do with them all. If we were to total up the gifts mentioned, it would come to a whopping 364 items. And seriously, what would one do with all those maids a-milking and lords a-leaping? The American PNC Banking Corporation have been keeping a Christmas price index since 1984. The index calculates the cost of all the gifts in the song based on current market rates, and the total for 2019, the most recent year for which numbers were available, comes to $38,993.59, or $170,298.03 if you count each mention of an item separately. In thinking about today's thought for the day, my first quandary was, as you might expect for a languages teacher, is it for calling birds, as I had learnt it, or for collie birds, as my father was adamant it should be? The annual discussion, however, appears to have been in vain, as it turns out. According to Mr. Google, in fact, both are correct. The 12 Days of Christmas was first published in around 1780, probably after years of oral circulation, and originally without sheet music and therefore likely to be said rather than sung. The collie, in collie birds, appearing in the original, are thought to refer to birds that are black. The Oxford English Dictionary traces the word's use as an adjective to describe something covered in coal dust or the colour of coal, hence colliery, collie birds. The modern calling birds text from the poem was popularised by Frederick Austin in his 1909 arrangement, which also gave us the music that we are used to using today. I was interested, when researching this, to discover an article from a poultry farmer who had put forward the hypothesis that they could have been black domestic fowls, such as the old French breeds, all of which were often black, or black Spanish chickens. Black turkeys were also popular in the 18th century in Europe. Black fowl lost favour, however, in the 19th century because the dark feathers show up in the skin of the bird when prepared for the table, unlike white feathers, and people didn't really like that anymore. I rather like the idea that the song could be used as a reminder or a coded reference to Christianity, with the 4 calling birds referring to the 4 Gospels, 3 French hens, the theological virtues, 2 turtle doves, Old and New Testament, and of course the partridge in the pear tree being Jesus Christ. Although this theory has been debunked on a number of accounts, I do believe that it can serve as a useful reminder of Christian beliefs, even if that was not its intended purpose. Much like the soldier and his deck of cards. All of the delving into a much-loved song of my childhood led me to consider the rights and wrongs of taking things at face value. A quandary that has plagued my life for as long as I remember, often being taken in by people and ideas I have not fully researched, thought about, or taken time to get to know. A good example of this would be putting people, and I don't just mean celebrities here, on pedestals, which can lead to disappointments over and over again. People look good, they sound good, they say good things, ergo, they are good people. I have to wonder why anyone would put someone they don't know on a pedestal, or why so many, myself included, would take the word of a stranger at face value and then turn around and question the word of a close friend or relative. Similarly, people we meet will often keep a part of themselves hidden for fear of stigmatisation or to hide more sinister intentions. In truth, we only know what people tell us, especially if we aren't particularly observant and lack credible skills of discernment. So many times people seem more willing to substitute assumptions for reality, perhaps in an effort to remain within their own comfort zones. In fields like science and technology, making assumptions and then testing a hypothesis or making an inference from something we have learned is perfectly natural, but not in our day-to-day reactions and interactions. For example, assuming that others know what we mean during communication can be very destructive in our relationships at work and at home, as well as on social media. We need to use our skills of perception. Perception has been defined as our ability to recognise and interpret information. It also includes how we respond to that information. Some people are perceptors, people who crave knowledge and use it for the purpose of discernment and observation. They also sometimes use it to help others. Perceptors often become teachers, scientists, journalists, doctors, or institutional leaders. They use perception of facts and information to build knowledge and awareness. They work hard trying not to assume. Those who lack these skills are unperceptive, meaning they lack discernment and the ability to perceive or understand. This is usually accompanied by a lack of desire to question their own perceptions. Perception allows us, therefore, to take in the information around us and turn it into something meaningful. To be clear, not everyone is going to lie to you or withhold information. There are those of us who still believe in a cards on the table way of doing things, but that only works if the other party believes in the same thing. Negotiating through life means you're going to have to be able to trust others at some point in order to move forward. But at the start of any relationship, you don't know people enough to take anything that they say at face value. There is a mountain of information out there, including self-help books, how-to books, blogs, vlogs, chat groups, all offering trust building and discernment and happy life skills. I, however, would like to offer you a simpler solution that winged its way to me through this meandering thought for the day, starting with my father and the calling collie birds. There is one person in who we can totally and immediately trust, on whose guidance we can rely, and who will never fail us. God, and his open to all, do anywhere method of communication, prayer. I hope that you enjoy the remainder of the 12 days of Christmas and wish you all a peaceful and healthy New Year.